Whoa, what is that? Sorry, y'all. These are bees. Okay, I gotta go. Hold on one second, y'all. Bees, y'all. Bees. That's all I can say is bees. All right. Let's see if I can get some lighting. All right, y'all. Hold on one second. Let me get situated. As you guys can see, I had planned on doing the broadcast. There we go. I had planned on doing the broadcast outside, but clearly the bees and flies or whatever it was were not, they didn't agree. Our declaration is do it again. That is going to be our declaration on this particular broadcast. I wanted to come back on and release this word that God gave me. And I pray that it is a blessing. I pray that it blesses you guys as much as it did me when the Lord gave it to me. But again, our declaration is going to be do it again. You may be saying, do what again, Apostle T? Whatever the thing is that God has told you to do, whatever the thing is that the Lord has told you to pursue, do it again. I'm going to say it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again and again and again and again and again until it produces what the Lord told you it would produce. Hey, Kanema. Again, our declaration is do it again. I'm going to say it again. Whatever that thing is that God has you pursuing, whatever the thing is that he's giving you a vision for, do it until it produces what God said that it was going to produce. So I had just made it back home. I had to give Bo a bath. Of course, he, for the first time, peed in his bed. So I had to throw it away, get a new one. And so I had come back from Walmart and, right when I parked from Walmart with getting just the little things that I needed to wash him, the little small bed. Praise God, they're only like $5. Praise God, he little enough for that. But anyway, I had sat down and God had given me like a few days ago, he had given me an idea for something that futuristically is going to be a thing. And so like it was one of those things where I kind of felt like, Lord, I did it in the past and it didn't work. Anybody ever felt that way? Like God has, or he wants you to do something that you already did, and when you did it the last time, it didn't work, the door didn't open, the opportunity didn't come, you didn't get the job, you didn't get the car, you didn't get the healing, you didn't get whatever it is that God told you, right, that you were going to get. So, this was kind of me, like I did this before, God, and nothing really happened with it. Something happened, but not a lot of traction. And I kind of putting off making like the logo for this particular business. I just kind of put it off. I knew the name. I'd written that down, written what God told me down. I understood everything that he had given me the vision for concerning this thing and what he wanted me to do when I pursued it again. And so as I got back from Walmart, the Lord told me, he said, do what I told you to do and do it now. Listen, when you hear God talk to you that way, if you don't move, you're insane, because the person that you really don't want to piss off is God. And I'm just saying it. I'm being transparent. So he told me, he said, do what I told you to do and do it right now. And so in my car, I sat and I did exactly what the Lord wanted me to do. And I didn't think anything of it. Created the logo, didn't take me long at all. Got back into the house and I was, bathing Mr. Bo and fixing his cage and everything else that I know I needed to do around my home. And the Lord began to deal with me about like how some people get tired of the repetition that faith requires. I'm going to say that again. He said a lot of people get tired of the repetition that faith requires. If you don't think at some point in your faith journey that you are going to have to pursue something over and over and over again until it happens, then you have been sadly mistaken and poorly teaching. I said what I said. He told me, he said, a lot of people get tired. They get frustrated. They get mad with God. Many people will go back and forth with God, telling him what he already knows. He knows you pursued it the first time. He knows you pursued it the second time. He knows that he knows that you've done whatever it is that you have done. But if God tells you to do something, right? If he gives you a vision for something, if he gives you a promise that he needs you to stand on, please understand that at some point in that process, before you gain access to whatever that thing is, there is going to be a moment in your journey where you have to over and over and over and over and over again have to pursue something. Blessings to you, Natasha. So again, our declaration is do it again. There are some of y'all here where you know that God has told you to do a certain thing, but because you've been holding on to the fact that maybe it didn't work last time, maybe you got, messed over last time, maybe, you kind of, whatever it is that happened, right? But the Lord is saying, don't compare what he's asking you to do now to what happened before. I'm going to say it again. Do not compare what God is asking you to do again to what happened back then. Because the thing of the matter is, obedience is the prerequisite apart from our faith that's ultimately needed in order to get whatever it is that you're believing God for. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but stop telling God that you're tired of doing whatever that thing is. Stop telling him about how it failed back then, about how that person did you wrong, about how this happened. Stop it. And just do what God has asked you to do. Even now, he's leading me to think about like when I got the car that I have now. Even when it revolves around so many other things, the car is the first thing that's popping up. So I'm going to go with that. You guys know, like I had been to the car lot. I had gotten to a point where I had pursued that thing till I was blue in the face and nothing had happened. And I was mad. I'm going to be real. I was mad with God because I'm like, Lord, why you keep having me pursue this thing? Why you keep having me do this thing and you know that nothing is coming from it? You absolutely know that nothing is happening. Even when it revolves around to like where I live now, there were small items that I needed, but like let's just say kitchen towels. I needed like a towel to like go on my stove. I needed like mittens to get things out of like the oven. But every time God would tell me to go to a store, and they didn't have what I was looking for, didn't have the color that I wanted, I would look up at God like, why did you lead me here? Anybody ever felt that way about your journey? God, why did you tell me to pursue this business if you knew that nothing was going to happen from it? Why did you tell me to do X, Y, and Z if you knew that nothing was going to happen from it? Why did you tell me to go to yet another car lot, God, and nothing has happened. I still don't have the vehicle. It's all these little bumps in the road that you feel you have to overcome in order to get what God has for you, right? And so doing that, honestly, our emotions, it makes us mad. Because it's like the first time God tells you to do it and nothing happens from whatever it is that you're pursuing, you bounce back from. But it happens over and over and over and over again. There comes a point where you start looking up at God. There comes a point, hear me now, there comes a point where you literally, may say, I don't even want to do that, God. I don't want to do it no more. You start getting mad. You start getting angry. You start feeling like, what's the use of me even pursuing this thing? And it's normal. It's human. It's human emotion. It's human nature. But recently, even with the car, I went so many times. And finally, when it was time, I got the one God wanted for me. Same thing yesterday. God told me, go to Home Goods. Go to Home Goods. I didn't know why he was telling me to go. I'm going to just be real. I just assumed that because I had been to these stores so many times that they did not have what I assumed it was going to be the same thing. With the car, when I got the car, I assumed that, okay, I'm going to just, get here and it's not going to go through. In the back of my mind, that was that was why I was so numb, because it's like, let me just prepare myself. Let me not get excited about this thing. Let me just get to a point where I just let you do what you gonna do, God. I pray that I'm making sense. But on that last time when God told me pursue again, it happened. It happened. It happened. I got the vehicle. Same thing. So I go to Home Goods yesterday and I'm looking around. I kid y'all not. I'm just looking around. I'm finding some things. I needed also a can. Oh, I'm finding a lot of stuff. And for a good price. And so as I was leaving the store, as I got back home, the Lord told me, he said, take a look at the list that you wrote. It was a list that I had written 2 months ago when I first moved here. Little stuff that I needed, but I could not find at any store. And the Lord said, you were getting mad with me all these times, feeling like I was wasting your gas, going to these stores, knowing that they didn't have what you wanted. He said, but did it not happen on this last pursuit? Did it not happen? There have been things in this season that God has breathed his ruach into, that honestly speaking, these were areas, these were things that I had not made much progress in. These were things that I let go of. These were things that honestly I did not want to pursue ever and ever again. And so recently, I'm going to share this because you guys need to understand, in order to get to your promised land, there's going to have to be a moment where you have to repeat. It builds that consistency. It builds you to the point where you know that God has to do it at some point. But there, recently, I had gotten a large order from a church to do some shirts. I have not done shirts since 2020. Yeah. I have not done shirts since 2020. I was so over it, so stressed out with my dog Bella that I literally, y'all got to hear me. I was so stressed out about that I sold my heat press to my sister. I practically gave her the heat press. That's how cheap I gave it to her for. I pray that I'm making sense. That was how cheap I gave it to her for. And so needless to say, a church requested, they wanted me to do their shirts. It's about 50 shirts, give or take. It's probably about 40. It's almost 50. It's not quite 50, right? I pray that I'm making sense. But I had given up on this thing. I said, what I've produced with this is not enough for me to keep going. I'm too stressed out, God. I don't want to do it. And so when I moved here, I knew that was one of the things that God wanted me. When I was moving out of the old place, I knew that this is something that I need to pick back up. But then Bella again. And I didn't want to do it, right? And so needless to say, I got that church order. Did you not know my sister she practically gave me back my heat press. Didn't charge me anything. She brought it back to me. She said, here, instead of buying a new one, just take your old one back. She gave me back what I gave her. I pray that I'm making sense. The only thing that I need is a table. But she gave me back what I gave her. And I'm going to be real. This was not something that I even had to ask for. It was an opportunity that fell in my lap. I pray that I'm making sense. My sister remembered that I did shirts in 2020. And she said, hey, can you do our church's shirts? I promise y'all, I'm not making this up. But had I not been willing to just let God lead, had I not been willing to pursue it again, I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity if my mindset was, I don't want to do it. I don't ever want to do that again. Even just recently, one of the things that God was telling me to pick back up was, pick back up your clothes, child. Pick back up the clothing line. Of course, with some changes made. But these are some things that God has really been dealing with me about, doing it again and getting out of the habit of telling God what didn't work, what failed, or even how things fell flat. Because the truth of the matter is, you do not know what is on the other side of your obedience. All those times when I had pursued something and nothing had come from it, and then God said pursue it again, but my mindset is thinking, God, it ain't gonna happen. It's gonna be just like the other times. I'm telling y'all, there comes a point where God begins to respond to you. And what I saw in all of those instances was the same strategy. Some of y'all think that the strategy God gave you is not working. I'm going to say that again. Some of y'all feel like the strategy that God gave you is not working. I'm going to say it one more time. Some of y'all feel that the strategy that God gave you is not working. But it's not that the strategy is not working. It's just simply that it is not yet time. It's not yet time. I'm going to say it again. It's not yet time. But what I saw all of those instances is the same strategy, right? That was not working before was oftentimes the same strategy that got me the breakthrough, that got me into whatever blessing it was that I was in need of at that moment. You do not know what is on the other side of your obedience. So when God asks you to do something in this season, when he asks you to pick something back up again, do it with a cheerful heart. Stop telling God, hey, don't you think he knows what happened back then? Don't you think he sees how it fell apart back then? Don't you see he sees? Don't you think he sees, right, that it didn't work? He is aware. But here's the thing. If you can't be consistent in the process, the blessing gonna wipe you out. Because the same consistency that the process requires, that it demands, is oftentimes, always the same consistency that's needed when God levels you up to the next level. I'm going to say it again. So if you can't do whatever it is that God is asking you to do right now with a cheerful heart and to be consistent at that, do it however many times he tells you to do it, you're going to struggle if you were to release the blessing. I pray that I'm making sense. So again, to the person that needs to hear this, do it again. I need somebody to type that in on the screen. Do it again. Whatever it is God has told you to do, whatever it is you believe in God for, do it again. This is your word. Do it again. Somebody on here is believing God for a vehicle. Go to the car lot again. Go back. Go back. Go back. Somebody on here is looking to relocate. Listen, go back and relook. Somebody on here is looking for a job, and you may say, Apostle, I've been on the job site. Oh, I've been on the job site for hours and I ain't found nothing. Go back to that job site. Go back. Because how else are you going to get the blessing? How else are you going to get what God has in store for you? Somebody here is believing God. Oh, I feel this. Somebody on here is believing God for marriage. But you keep getting yourself into a mindset of feeling like, God, I've been disappointed time and time again. So now you want to be, so now your mindset is, let me just be cold-hearted. Let me just not be receptive to this. And then if I'm not receptive to it, I won't get hurt. But if you're not open to the idea of marriage, if you're not open to the idea of courting, how will you ever get what God has for you? How? How you ever gonna get what God has for you? Somebody on here right now, you got a business that you've put down. You got discouraged because you got discouraged because the enemy started attacking you. You got discouraged because things were not flowing as smoothly as you wanted them to flow. You got discouraged, right? And you start condemning yourself because you feel like, God, I've been in this constant cycle of stop and start. And so what happened is you just put it off. And now that God is saying do it again, you want to remind him of what happened back then. This is not then. This is not then. This is not then. He says, I need to say it again for the people in the back. This is not then. Do it again. Because at some point, your faith will produce the results that you've been looking for. At some point, your consistency will move the hand of God to do whatever it is that he needs to do. There is a reason why God tells us to do it again. There are lessons along the way that we learn every single time we pursue it. It matures us. It teaches us something in some way, shape, or form. I don't care what nobody say. And that's why I don't regret all those moments where I would go to those car lots and pursue prematurely, because it gave me a wisdom. It taught me something. You mad at God for giving you for giving you wisdom, for allowing you to experience something that made you better, for allowing you to experience. I pray that I'm making sense. You mad at God? He gave you an experience. He taught you something. You look at it as I failed. I didn't get it. But what did you spiritually gain from going through that? That's why I don't regret it, because every single time I pursued and it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go, guess what? There was a revelation. There was a lesson that God needed me to learn. Am I making sense? I feel this so strongly. Some of y'all are at risk of missing what God has for you because you don't want to pursue it again. Who are you? You don't want to go to the car lot again, Kanema. You don't want to go to that job site again. You don't want to go back through what you went through. Some of y'all ain't even giving God a chance to bless you. You ain't even giving him a chance to show you that he's real, to show you that nothing that you've been through was ever in vain. And I hear this for somebody. You're the reason why it had happened. Because you don't want to do it again and risk being disappointed or risk being frustrated again. We don't have any control over what happens. But what we do have control over is our part, our role, our obedience, and our faith. We don't have control over none of that other stuff. I'm going to say it again. We don't have control over any of that other stuff. But what we do have control over, hear me now, what we do have control over is our part. Our job is to obey. Our job is to exercise our faith, however God needs us to do that. So again, the declaration is do it again. This word was to light a fire under somebody. I don't know who this is for. This word was to light a fire for you to, a fire for you to get your fight back, a fire for you to do whatever it is that God is asking you to do in this hour. Do it again. I need somebody to type that in. Do it again. Do it again. Whatever it is, I don't care about what happened back. Do it again. This is your word. Do it again. How many times God gonna have to tell you that's the path he needs you to go? How many times he's gonna have to tell you the same set of instructions to follow? How many times does he have to do it? And that's it. Do it again. Do it again. Yeah. Do it again. Do it until it happens. Do it until God moves. Do it until he moves. And that's it. That's it. That is it. Everyone on Natasha, you need to sow seed into this word. It's just about giving honor where it's due. I don't know why God wants me to say that. Like those of y'all that you know this word was for you, sow into this word. It's about giving honor where it's due. It's just simply about giving honor where it is due. So that's it. You need to tithe, Andrea Smedley. You need to tithe, woman of God. Even if you're not tithing here, you need to go pay your 10% somewhere. That's it. Now, what you sow is between you and God. Some of y'all may feel led to sow 10. Some of y'all may feel led to sow 20. Some of y'all may feel led to sow 100. Some of y'all may feel led to sow 30. But the seed title is do it again. Do it again. I'm going to say it again. Do it again. Do it again. Whatever your it is, do it again. Do it until something happens. I'll say that again. Do it until something happens. Do it until something happens. And so that's it. The links are there for you guys to sow. Kanema, you need to sow as well, woman of God. And so even if, and here's the thing. Some of y'all feel like you have to sow a super huge seed in order to give honor to God. You ain't giving honor to me. It's to God. Baby, even if all you have is $1, even if all you have is 10 cents, you put that in the ground when you know that, and this is besides this ministry, when you know that words are blessing you, you give honor to those people because they didn't have to obey God and give you whatever wisdom they gave you, give you whatever insight that they gave them. You give that honor back to God and you bless people who bless you. And I'm not saying that for anybody to sow. It is just kingdom principle. There has never been, I don't know why he has me on this. There has never been a person that has poured into my life that I have not sought to bless. There was a point, and God is saying to share this, where there was a gentleman that I love, this man of God, man of valor to life. But he blessed me real big in the gym one day. He blessed me really big, in a big way, by just imparting kingdom business principles into me. He gave me a whole strategy, encouraged me. He didn't even know that he was on assignment from God. Do you not know? I went out of my way and say, listen, I need to bless you. I know I don't have to, but I need to sow seed into your life because you just let God use you. And I was really struggling. And so again, the links are there. You can sow via the Cash App. You can sow via the PayPal. You let God lead you. At this point, and this is just my level of integrity, for those people that do so, the funds are going towards gas. That is what I need, like right now at the moment. I have like 30 miles until I am empty. And so I just need to put gas in my vehicle. And so it doesn't matter what comes in. It is all going to the same places. So I love y'all. I am rooting for you guys. And so until next time, y'all, peace.